Taking the joke. Ty Thomas is a far North Queensland funny man. He's a Cairns-based comedian who has shared the stage with some really great comedians. That is until they called security on him. Far North Queensland born and bred, this young wit, this up-and-coming comedian, shares with us his journey and his insights tonight. Ty, mate, thank you very much for coming on Northern Vibe.
Oh, it's no problem, mate. I had nothing better to do. This is Cairns on a Monday. How are you?
Well, yeah, very well, mate. And everyone sort of seeks to be funny. I've never been able to make the distinction between people looking at me and laughing and being a comedian. So I'm kind of glad to be able to have you here.
I find the distinction being where they're pointing. If it's at you, then if it's at you, then you know who it's about.
So, mate, you're from the bustling metropolis of Mareeba. Why did you move to Cairns?
Bustling metropolis is right. We do have lights there now, just the one light. I don't think it works properly, but I found that it was really stifling trying to do stand up in Mareeba and drive to Cairns all the time. I've always found I'd go home quite exhausted, and I'd also drive there quite exhausted. So it was very hard to do gigs with all my energy. Plus, Cairns is just a bit bigger. It's a bit less people know your business there. It's like the one time where you don't want people going, "Hey, Ty, you're a comedian." I'm like, "Yeah, I told you that before, Mum."
Yeah, exactly. I've lived in a couple of really small towns myself. The smallest one being Winton out in West Queensland, and holy guacamole, because people out there could track and they could literally, like, they'd be walking around. Oh, you walked to such and such's place the other day, and I was like, dude, that was like at 10 o'clock at night. Like, I looked at, I saw the tracks. Like,
track. Yeah.
Oh, mate, it's worse than you.
Stop shitting in the bushes.
Yeah. Well, I did stop for a pee once, and the bloke kind of like saw all. But yeah, it's better than security. So, mate, where have you moved to? Like, what suburb are you in here in Cairns?
Well, if my comedy career is to be followed, then it's I moved from Mareeba to Edmonton, which was it's like Edmonton's Mareeba but a little bigger. I then moved from Edmonton to Bungalow, which is Edmonton but in the city. And then I moved to Menunda, which I've recently found out is hell on earth.
So, mate, you got to tell me, and look, just for the listeners, a little bit of context, because I rang up twice, said, mate, I really want to get you on. My wife saw you live and just couldn't stop talking about how funny you are. And he said, look, I kind of can't. The first few times we did it, and it's because he got a break and enter. Hey, what happened? Tell me about it.
Well, first they broke and then they entered. No, I just finished a long string of shifts because I have a real job too. And come Sunday morning on my one day off after about 6 days in a row, I come out to find that the door's wide open. And I'm thinking, oh, fuck. Did the real estate come back? Did the real estate let themselves in? So it wouldn't be the first time, because I keep forgetting when they email me like, hey, by the way, clean your place up. I'm like, no. So I saw the door open and I thought, oh God, I gotta hide the drugs. So I'm kidding, I don't have any drugs. Someone stole them all. And the second time, like, I thought, okay, that's pretty bad. They stole about $3,000 worth of stuff. I'm pretty sure I know who did it too, because there's someone walking up and down the street with my shoes on. But I can't prove it. Yeah, can't prove it. And they look at me too, and they're like, what are you going to do about it? I'm like, probably cry, mate. Probably going to cry about it. And yeah, the second time I dropped my friend off to the airport. This was like 3 days later. I dropped my friend off to the airport, had to work at 6 a.m. So 5 o'clock, full up, go inside, have like an hour's nap, come outside, and they'd shattered the windows of my car. I'm like, why didn't I hear that? Policeman comes along, touches one bit of glass, whole thing goes off. Car's like, hey, someone's trying to break in. I'm like, yeah, I know. Cheers, mate.
Yeah.
It's insane. But yeah, no, they got me twice, and I was thinking, like, that's crazy getting done twice in a week. First time you're like, mate, it is what it is. It happens. It's Cairns. You just got to expect. Actually, it's a rite of passage, really. I feel like I'm part of Cairns culture now.
Yeah.
And now I got to go find myself a spoon and a lighter, you know? And then second time it happens, you think, God, am I being targeted? Am I in trouble? Who did I piss off, you know? Third time it happens, I reckon someone's probably got a crush on me.
Either that, or like you were saying, that the routine cut a little bit too close to the bone and the guilt-free comedy, mate. Maybe it wasn't guilt-free in the true sense.
Maybe it was very guilty comedy. Incredibly guilty comedy. But yeah, so like I thought, oh mate, if they do it again, they got a crush on me, you know? First time you steal my keys, then you steal my wallet, next you're gonna steal my heart, mate. Take my money, but leave some flowers.
Yeah, that's it. You know, waking up with a tap on the shoulder in the wee hours of the morning. It's like,
write a little note, put it on my bedside. Like, I enjoyed our night together. I'm like, who was in my bed?
Yeah, kiss on the cheek. You never call.
That. No, that's it. You never look me in the eyes when you rob me.
So, mate, I got to ask, because you were out at Edmund there for a little while. Have you met Kyle?
Kyle, yes, I've met Kyle. Kyle is a local legend, really. He's a man who, it's funny. There's this as you go, depending on which way you go. If you're going out to Innisfail, and you turn left onto the farmlands, there's an old man shed out there. That's the only way I can describe the boat ramp. The boat ramp's out there in the racetrack. There's this old, dilapidated building on the right as you're going down, falling to pieces. Every time I drove past there, something would fall off. And there was this tiny little, there was a wall up, and Kyle would hide behind that wall, and he never changed. He never, that's a true story. If you watch my bit, man comes along and he starts rattling the door, and I did fudge a little bit, because instead of being inside, I actually had come home at that point, but I was watching him for a while, and he didn't do anything except shake the door. So I come out, I'm like, "G'day, mate, you're right there." And he's like, "Yeah, I live here, man." I'm like, "You don't though." Because I do. And he's like, And then he just walked away. Like, well, foiled again.
Walk away, cool down.
Yeah, and they called the police, and they're like, yeah, he rarely gets in. He just walks around. We can't technically get him because he hasn't technically done anything. Yeah,
just rattling someone's front door. You're kind of right there. There's no offense there.
Yeah, I was like, if I stay here any longer, if he comes back, I'm going to let him in for some tea. Kyle, again. Bro, you know that there's also windows.
And it's like, bro, you never call. Come on, we're going to form a victim offender relationship here. I want it to be a deep and meaningful one. I want it to be one that has a degree of substance.
Kyle, you never look me in the eyes when you try to rob me.
All right. Hey, look, speaking of that kind of stuff and being stared at in the eyes, mate, you've got to tell me what it's like standing on a stage with lights shining on you and trying to be funny. Like it's got to be
So actually, the thing I think people don't talk about enough is it's a very warm experience. Like that light, you can actually feel the heat, and it really does sting the eyes if it's like real harsh in your face. People are like, oh, you stand up there and you look down at all these people, you can't see a damn thing. That's what makes it so great, because like no one can judge me when I can't see them, Like, oh, not there. Oh, here I am, Playing a game of Ha Ha Peekaboo with a bunch of 20-something-year-old children.
Yeah.
My
and excluding the voices in your head and the multiple, obviously chatting. Sorry?
Half those voices are actually incredibly supportive. Crazy.
but it's only bad if you lose the argument with yourself. I mean, that's gonna be the problem there. There's no problem arguing with yourself, but when you lose the argument, that's time to go and talk to someone.
There's three voices in my head that are supportive. There's the regular one. It's like, you can do this. And then there's the real chill hippie one. It's like, just do what you love, man. And then there's like the Kanye West one. Just like, we the greatest. Then there's the one that's telling me you can't do this. And then there's the one screaming racial slurs because I'm, from Mariba. He lives there. The bogan one who's just like, fuck off, we're full.
So
like, you got to be quiet, mate. You got to go back to bed.
See, Stadler and Waldorf from the Muppets, only with really bad language.
Come out when I'm 70 and a menace to society.
All right, so mate, look, what got you into comedy?
That's a good question. I actually I thought about this a lot recently, and I think it comes in stages. There was 3 parts for me. There was one part where growing up, I was not very well noticed. I wasn't a noticeable person, despite my absolute heft as a unit, as a huge child. When it came to things like sports day, there was actually this one year, and I remember this very vividly, where, when you're in sports, every week a different kid gets picked to be the captain. So everyone's included. There was a year they missed me completely. And then they said, is there anyone who hasn't been captain yet? And I said, yeah, I haven't been captain yet. And the teacher said, oh, rubbish, Ty, you were captain 3 weeks ago. And I had the entire year of 7th graders to back me up, saying, no, you're wrong. You're very wrong about that, mister. And he's like, no, I'm the adult. You're wrong, children. And from then on, I'm just like, no one's really paying attention, are they? So I thought I'll be louder and louder, and then they can't ignore me, and I couldn't turn it off because I grew up in my family owned a cricket center in Mariba. They ran the cricket center, and I was always surrounded by adults, and it's like no one looks at you down there when you're a child. I got hit in the head so many times, and only half of them went notice. So you learn to be loud, I think, and abrasive, and that what sent me into being the class clown. I remember this one time when we were doing the sports day, probably the next year, and then it came into a tie, and I said, finally, I win something. And I was 8 and extremely passive aggressive. And if people laughed at that, like even the teacher laughed, I thought, okay, this is what I like. This is something that's really enjoyable to me. Cut forward a few years, I went to go visit my uncle in Brisbane for the first time. And he had a little, back in the day when you had your little hard drives that you'd download all your movies on and plug them into your DVD player. The old days. So long ago. And he had a bunch of Arch Barker on there. And I put it on, and he come and sat with me, and me and him watched the entire collection of Arch Barker together. I think it's right there. Like he's one of the people I want to impress the most as a comedian, as my uncle. And I think that's where that came from, is being with him, watching those things. And then one day I won a ticket to go see my favorite comedian at the time, Mr. Russell Howard from England. And he goes, I took him to watch it. He's like, I got the second ticket. It's in Brisbane. I'll take my uncle. And he was not impressed. It was like, I could barely understand that, man. I'm like, he just has an accent, uncle. What the hell?
Yeah, imagine what he'd say about us. But hey, I've just got to acknowledge we're getting a bit of love from Mariba. G'day, Lionel. Thanks for tuning in, mate. And he's a fair income, proud Mariba man. And yeah, so Lionel Carroll, mate, he's a long time Northern Vibe listener. I really appreciate your support and support that you give me from support that you give Northern Vibe on your website, Lionel. So thanks very much. But
thank you for not telling people where I used to live.
Well, your secret was safe until, of course, you came on Northern Vibe. That's but look, when did you realise you could actually do something with it? Like, it's one thing to be the class clown and get seek and get a little bit of attention. It's another thing to think, I can kind of do something with this. Like, when did that happen? What moment was that for you?
It was actually very recently. I sucked for a very long time. I was not a funny man. Like, I'd get up and do my best. And there was like, I got the few laughs. And that's usually what keeps you going when you start off. You're like, 3 people thought that was funny. I'm going to do that again, And those 3 people were my friends, but that doesn't matter. They, I think it was probably actually that competition that I was seen at when I realized, like, oh man, look at this. There's 400 plus people here, I think it was. And they are eating up everything I say. I blacked out completely too. I walked on that stage, didn't remember a thing when I walked off, and then I had to rewatch the video later. I'm like, oh man, that was really good.
Yeah. It's like, I've had a few of those moments where you're kind of sitting there and you watch or you write something and you go and you watch it or read, especially with reading, you read it later on, especially if you've had a few drinks while you're writing, and you go, gee, that's all right. Who wrote it? Oh,
that was me. It's
that was me.
That's got my signature. That's crazy.
That's actually not too bad. But of course, but then of course there's the converse stuff where it's like, who wrote this? All right. There's a bit of a problem going.
Like I said, it's the 5 voices. There's the good stuff made by Kanye Ty, and then there's the racial slurs Ty, who's like, don't even look at that. That's get rid of that. Burn it. 50 lashes, mister.
Yeah. Oh mate.
And actually, it was after the show that really cemented it. One of the judges, Elliot, who he talked about the show after. I don't know if you heard the radio the next day. He was talking about, we were in the dressing room and I was looking at the whiteboard and I'm like, this doesn't have enough penises drawn on it. So I said, Elliot, what's your dick look like? And he's like, excuse me? And I'm like, no, tell me. Wouldn't let him get away. And I think we're mates now. I think we're friends now.
Yeah, it's on the whiteboard. Maybe he feels violated in a nice sort of way, in the same way, like it's going to be like the relationship with you and the Breaking Enter guys. It's like, hey, if you're going to violate me, do it in a decent kind of, and follow up.
I know you got to look at the thing that you're drawing, but at least every now and then look up. My eyes are up here, sister. But no, Lachlan, one of the other judges who used to do comedy quite frequently, he's very, very funny, but he decided to go, be a respectable member of society, I guess.
Really?
Like a bitch. And he
does that.
He got up to me after and he goes, Ty, when you started, you were not funny. Like, you were really not funny. Like, why are you doing this kind of not fun? Like, he kept going. He's like, but you've come so far. Now I got to clarify, you were not funny. And he just kept coming back. So I'm like, I get it.
Did I mention the unfunny bit? Yeah.
Like, he put his hand on my shoulder. Like, seriously, like, I thought this man, he might get shot one day. But just being that unfunny.
Well, that's a pretty cool character arc, though. So, I mean, how do you get your, obviously being a Marine, right? And you do draw on that rural sense of, I'm a redneck, redneck as well. So that kind of redneck rural sense of humor. But what else? How do you get your stuff? Like, what do you do? You're walking down the street, or a joke comes into your head, or you like?
I don't want to be the guy to say I'm the Jay-Z of comedy, but no, it's interesting. I say that because I was watching an interview about how Jay-Z writes his music, and they say he does it in his head. He doesn't write anything down. He just walks in and he rearranges stuff in his head. And that's kind of like what I do with my comedy. Is I'll be walking along and I'll see something and I'll be like, oh yeah, and I'll keep playing with it in my head until it's a fully formed joke, even if it's like half good. And then once it's that, I'll write it down somewhere after I put it together like that. But I won't sit down and write. I can't do that. It always ends up crap. And if I don't go through this process first, if I like have the idea, get halfway through it, then start writing it down, then it's like, no, you've lost it. The funny parts aren't there anymore.
Well, as much as we talk about voices in your head, that's kind of like, you really do have these different aspects of your personality that are bouncing stuff off each other and going, well, is that cool and is that not? And you need to cut and paste that and put that there. And so another shout out to a mate, Task Force. It's an in joke, but there's a guy out there who I know knows all that about. I was I'll tell you really quickly. I've just come out of the police, actually.
Tell me all about Task Force.
Yeah. So I was on a task force. I was the shift supervisor, the boss of a task force. And we kind of did okay. And the bloke I was this mate of mine who's on there with, he's a watch house officer. So we're bringing people in all the time, and we'd walk in and he'd just yell at us, "Task Force!" The moment we walked in. So big g'day to you, Dave. Fantastic to see you here. All right, so we've kind of gone over your career so far. Like you've started off in Reba. Could you give us a little bit of an evolution of the places you've been to, and tell us about that? Go through and tell us about your best moment and your worst moment.
Mate, it's a matter of, I've only been to 3 places, maybe 4 if you count Mariba itself, to do comedy, and that's probably my biggest downfall, is that I haven't reached out more. I get very anxious about like, oh well, shit, if I go for a week over to Perth and try to stand up there, am I going to be able to pay rent? You know, and that's always what stopped me, because I'm an independent liver. You know, I try my best not to have a roommate, I guess would be the best way to say it. And yes, I've really only been to Cairns, Townsville, and Brisbane. But even then, I've had some fantastic experiences. Like I say, one of the better ones, which is also the worst one at the same time, would be performing stand up for the Freemasons. Like
What?
the whole, yeah, we did a gig for the Freemasons. It was great. It was a whole room of 100-something very white people.
Yeah. And
two strippers.
any goat jokes? Like, did you have no goat jokes at a Freemasons thing?
It went so bad. I hope Task Force not in the Freemasons. Honestly.
No. Actually, I got a mate who does watch all the time who was a very proud Freemason, actually. G'day, Donnie.
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. There was nothing. It wasn't bad. It just went bad. Like, comedy wise, it started off. I went in there and no one told me about the gig. They just said, "You want $100?" And I said, "I always want $100." So I warmed up my jaw for whatever was going to happen, comedy or otherwise. And I rocked up to the show, the gig, and I walk upstairs to wherever it is. I'm not going to really go places in. And I said to this lady, I'm like, "What's going on here?" And she goes, "Oh, it's a beef and beer night for the Freemasons." I'm like, "Oh, I see. You've also been booked as a comedian." She said, "What do you want about?" And that's when I realized, like, oh no, this is going to go so bad.
I'm here by myself. Oh no.
No, I was here with a bunch of people. It was me, Macca, the guy who came first. Shout out to Macca Melody, the comedian. He's a very funny man who's, I recommend to follow him. And JY Mara, who actually just did, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's just done an episode of Waltzing Jamoan. And he's on a bunch of little secret projects that I'm not allowed to talk about. So I won't. Ooh. Yeah, he can't stop telling me things. He's like, "Don't tell him though." And I'm like, "You've really put me in a spot, mate." Yeah. I'm going on this big sick podcast interview. What are you doing to me, bud?
Yeah, that's right. It's telegram, telephone, and tell type. Like, but really,
still, like, actually, I had a few friends that went on that. It was Jay, Shark Barrett, who I personally, I don't know if he even remembers my name, but I personally consider him a good friend. And Ting Lim, who's a Brisbane local comic who is fantastic. I recommend, if you haven't heard of them, look them up. They're all such funny people, and they deserve to be on that show. So do I. But we'll get to that. Well, I'll make it happen. I'll harass the person. I don't give a shit.
That's cool. And look, Lionel's asked, can you tell us about your material, the sort of stuff that inspires you? And mate, he's asked for a bit of an example of some of your material. So sorry to put you on the spot, but it's a
no, that's right. It's always interesting because there's no real rhyme or reason to it. It's just whatever I personally think is funny, and then I try to tell it in a way that I think other people would think it's funny. Like, for example, I tell the story. If you find me on Instagram, I tell the story about the time I was chased by a crackhead, which is a real thing that happened. Very pretty man, very pretty crackhead. Definitely wanted to eat me. Just like, bath salt high, eat me. So that was like, I said, got to make that into a joke. I've been robbed this week. Got to turn that into a joke. You got to, I make light of things would be one way to say it. Another thing I do is I think of like fun little anecdotes and puns that really should have been thought of before. Trying to think of what a good example would be. I think my favorite joke that I've ever written, that it used to work really well, and then over time it's kind of ebbed off, was I bought myself a brand new fog machine so that when people come over to my place, it would look very mysterious as the fog rolls out. Problem is, I've lost it. I've lost my fog machine. I forgot to turn it off. Right? Isn't that the best? And it's just that's a good example of like, I find that funny, and then it's a real stroke of luck that so do other people. You know, I guess I tell.
Yeah, dad jokes. Mate, are you a dad yet?
No, God no. Thank God no. I would not be a good dad. I got robbed, and they took everything. Hopefully they were taking the kid too.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah.
I'm not ready to be a father. I wouldn't make a good dad.
See, mate, I would suggest.
Yeah. Sorry. Please continue.
Sorry, I suggest that dad joke would qualify you as perhaps, mate. I can officially swear you into the
well,
to the dad joke fraternity.
I do tell dad jokes and I tell stories. I tell dad jokes and stories, and then he usually tells me to fuck off. So that's.
So, mate, look, how is it, being in this cauldron around this, all these funny, creative people? How's it kind of affected you?
I'm definitely, I think as a whole, I'm a lot happier as a person because I'm surrounded by such great, funny people. Like, don't get me wrong, just because you're a funny person on stage doesn't mean you can't be shit as a person. I've definitely met some people that I'm like, I hate you so much. Just don't talk to me, please. Great show. Don't talk to me. Very few of them here in Cairns. Like, there's definitely people that I've had like a bit of an issue with, either silently to myself or openly with them. But for the most part in the community, especially right now, I love every one of the people who I do comedy with. I very much make a point to go and like give them all a big hug and wish them a good show. Sometimes I touch their butt. Sometimes I touch mine. I met there's some lovely, fantastic people in Brisbane and Townsville that I've met that I want to be lifelong friends with. They're great people. Actually, another fun story, probably the best comedy moment, coming back to that question, was I was hanging out with one Aldel Bene, who is he's a comic back from the days of Bill Burr coming up. Dane Cook, him and Dane Cook are real close friends. Huge back in the day. He came and did a show in Townsville, and everyone kind of disappeared after the show, but it was just me and him. And I was buying him drinks, and he started buying me drinks. I'm like, oh, this is all right. And he went into one of these. We went to the Heritage Exchange, which I don't know if you know this, but it is a ladies' bar. It is a gentleman's bar up top, bar down the bottom. And I went into the toilet to, do my business, and it was purple. Like, there's a purple, lavender, violet light. It was real soft, just the right temperature. Soft music was playing, lavender in the air. I felt safe for the first time ever being. I am a shy peer, not in that room. So I walk out and I go, Al, you got to smell this toilet. And he goes, don't you ever fucking say that to me again. And then he went and did it. And he comes out and he's like, Ty, that is the best smelling toilet I've ever been in. And that was like a great moment for us. It was fantastic. At the time, Jay and I were working on a show, Ty and Jay, which kind of fell to the wayside. But being the drunk fool that I am, I said, Al, you're so funny, mate. You should open for Jay and I Sydney, because I'm fucked and I'm just an idiot. And he goes, oh, Al Del Benny, I don't open for anyone. I said, oh, fair enough. You should close, but do it first. And he laughed. And I'm like, this is the best moment, making this man laugh like this.
Yeah.
I hope he remembers, but I also hope he doesn't at the same time, That's probably my favorite story about hanging out with a comedian. That's the best part, is hanging out with comedians.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool. But it raises the obvious question: is if both you and him are in a position to say that it was a particularly good smelling toilet, is this a thing that you engage in? Like, has it ticked off something now where you go around and what was the benchmark before that?
I think if it doesn't smell like piss, that should be the benchmark, because then it's clean. But if it smells like lavender, it's your duty as a person, as a human being, to tell everyone around you about that, And then the next day we were eating tacos. I'm like, he's on his phone. I'm like, what you doing, mate? And he's like, I'm leaving a Yelp review, a Google review for that toilet. How do you spell Dunny? In a real thick American accent. It was the best thing I've ever heard.
You're gonna love that.
It was so good.
Speaking of funny men, big g'day to Chris McLaughlin, who was one of the class clowns at class clowns in 1991, who I kind of was very well acquainted with this there. But mate, yeah, g'day, big guy. Fantastic to see you putting some comments up there, and we're getting some comments. So if anyone has any more comments, any observations they want to make, any more questions that they've got for our guests, please don't hesitate to put them up. But mate, tell us about your.
I'm just going to say, if anyone who's leaving comments for me, directed to me, I can't see shit. I can see this man's big, beautiful head and my little, beautiful head up the top there.
Yeah. I'm sure the light shining off the bald spot up there that my delightful daughter never ceases to point out.
Actually, I've turned all the lights off here. This light behind me, that's your reflection. That's you refracting back there.
Oh, right.
That was fantastic. Good job, mate.
Well, let there be light. And my delightful middle daughter is speaking of off-color, perhaps inappropriate jokes. She's part of the what does she call it? It's the anti-ranger. She's formed this little club that's basically discriminates against red-headed fathers. And I know. It's delightful.
That's taken rebellion to the next level.
Oh, it's the People's Anti-Ranger Front or something she called it. PA. Oh, she had this really cool little anachronism going on. Yeah. Parf is coming to get you, Dad. I don't sleep tonight. Her and the girls, unless I authorize all the sleepovers, they're always around there.
Like you can't go out wearing that, young Missy. And she goes, I'm going to start a cult just to spite you. That's awesome.
Hey, Dave is wondering if you want to come and rate the Watch House toilet smell and decor. He's really happy to get you around for that. And bro, it's a 5-head. So we're getting a bit of love out there. But
that should be a Netflix show. Ty Thomas rates your toilet, and I go around sniffing toilets for Netflix. Make it happen.
Well, it's right, mate. It's out there. It's out there right now, and I'm sure there's going to be some producer that watches that. That's just because Netflix will allow pretty much anything. Let's be honest.
I'm looking at you. Get on it, mate.
Make it happen. So, bro, tell us about your background, your family, your upbringing, your values, and how they impacted on you.
Oh, finally an excuse to brag. I got an interesting background. Obviously, mum and dad are quite well known in Mariba. Obviously, the parents of Ty Thomas, the famous Cairns comedian. Yeah. But I've got it's my mum and dad, my brother. My brother works for the paper there, and I'm actually genuinely proud of him. Don't tell him I said that. No. Mum and dad, they do their thing. My grandfather, actually, if anyone watching this has ever been through Mariba a long time ago, ever got those bloody good meat pies, he called them, from a pie van out the front of the pub. That was him. He was famous back then for that. They were famous meat pies. Oh. And going back even further, my grandmother was the first white woman born on Thursday Island. So like on my I can claim that I'm from got Thursday Island blood in me. I don't, because that's no one's going to agree to that. Look at me. But there's a graveyard out there for my great grandfather that I can go and check out if I ever make my way through there, and I probably will one day. Not many gigs in TI, but
you'd be surprised. Yeah, I lived there for a couple of years, and I'd be surprised if I haven't seen your dad's grave actually.
Yeah, it's probably like I've actually had that CPAC show we did. I had some fans come in to my own solo show was the night after that, and it went about as well as you can expect for someone's first solo show. And this lady came in halfway through, and she's like, "Did we miss the Crackhead set yet?" And I said, "No, I'm doing it right now." And she just, she was so stoked for it. She comes to me after, and she's telling me like, "Oh, we're from TI, but big fan." I'm like, "That's crazy." That's so good.
Mm.
Having like fans from that far.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that made me feel like maybe I can do this. Maybe I can be, a person that, helps people around the world through my brand of stand-up.
Mm.
That's all I've ever wanted, was to be like, make people that, when people say like, oh, that I was feeling real down, but I watched that new Bill Burr special. I just felt so much better. It's so funny. I want to be that person. I want to get those emails. It's just like, I was in a dark place, man, but your jokes about Kyle the crackhead really brought me out of it. And that's what I want. And also to be paid several millions of dollars to do it.
Yeah, there's the Netflix toilet thing.
Yeah, Netflix. If someone approached me with that, with a real script behind it, with an actual team, I would not say no. I would fully dive right into it nose first.
Well, see, then you'd have to do, Davo. We're going to end up getting that.
Yeah, I'll make sure. I'll reach out and make sure that he's on the list and be like, we got to do a special episode.
Yeah, the Cairns Watch House. We're taking you down there, and you're sitting there. Well, when it comes to, and you think of the metrics that you're going to do with that. So you're looking at decor, you're looking at stench, you're looking at.
I have a 5-part system. What's the lighting? What's the lighting? What's the sound? What's the smell? How do I feel? Do I grow a little or shrink a little when I'm standing there? Tell me what happens. It's a brilliant show idea. Why is this not a thing? I'll do it with Jamoan.
Yeah.
Crossover episode.
Yeah. Am I puckering? Like I gotta walk in there.
Oh, I've clenched. This is a
I've clenched full. Yeah.
Get me out of here.
You're gonna have to do the scale and one to the clench factor, the shrink factor, the
crab walk out of there. Do I feel diseased when I leave this place? Do I feel like I've just sat on the stools at the wool shed? Anyway,
we used to. My wife and I spent a little bit of time in China, and one thing that because they don't have the European squat, they don't have the European toilet, so we had to learn to do the squat thing. And obviously, with some of the floors over there, the other thing you got to do is you learn no clothing touching the toilet floor because it's covered in. So can you walk in? Can you walk out of there with wet trousers, dry trousers, and what's your technique for holding it up? And is there going to be a different standard for the squats? Is that going to be kind of like a
technique where you gorilla fist it and you put your fist down and lift your legs in the air, so you're like teetering there, because you can disinfect your hands. It'd be weird watching someone disinfect their feet.
There's something in this, bro. There's something in this.
There's a joke in everything. It's just about bringing it out, I think.
Well, see, that is the thing. And I really like, I've got a real dark sense of humor. It's from being in the police for so long. And some of the things that we used to, and it's because it's kind of G-rated show. I wish I could tell. Hey, Dave is just saying, in regards to the watch house, there's moonlighting, and you can and the smell varies depending on the clientele, and they have a very special room for very special people. And I don't know if he's kind of implying that you're special, totally nice kind of way there. Kind of nice.
Absolutely. Yeah, tell you what, moonlighting already gives it an extra star rating. I'll do it on a 5-star rating. Moonlighting is a big tick for me. It's romantic. Like, is Big Joe going to come and spoon me while I do it?
That's right.
I feel safe, but in such a dangerous way.
Yeah, maybe you'll get to meet Kyle, and maybe you'll get to meet those guys that come into your house at 2:00 in the morning as well. Like it could be, but this could link a number of things going on at the same time there. Really,
I'm gonna start writing this down somewhere.
There's.
I would write it down, but someone stole my pens and paper.
Gone. Well, I find that amusing because, if you want to hide anything from most of the criminals I know, mate, put it in a book. That's going to stop them. Make sure it's like a school textbook, an exercise. It's like, no, I'm hiding my keys in here. Oh, look, here is this educational textbook that I'm putting in there that's full of gold sovereigns. They're not going to find that. They're never going to see that.
I sure do hope there's some gold sovereigns hidden in the book. That's the thing. I remember reading this once. That's a thing that some people do in hotels because they never open the Bible. I think this is like an American thing.
The
They
Gideon
never
Bible.
open the Bible. So every now and then, if you go into a hotel and open the Bible, you'll find money in there because people like leave it for those who like, you know, read the Bible or check the Bible for money, I guess. You know, that's something I heard that does happen. And then I was like reading a story, probably by some bullshit artist who's like, I found $500 in there once. Like, sure you did, Steve. Sure you did. God praise the Lord, eh?
Yeah, well, mate, you know, there's wealth comes in all those different forms. But you can even get jokes out of death. You know, you can get jokes out of
I was a nurse in a palliative ward for about 4 years. You have no choice. Yeah, that's my upbringing. I've been a nurse since I think 2014, 2015. That's my profession, and it's you definitely have to find the humor when you're looking after people in that aspect. You know, you got to be able to joke with people about their own demise, otherwise they're gonna have a hard time of it.
And mate, do you do that? Do you kind of find like you're in there like making inappropriate dark jokes on, you know, with the right people, obviously?
For legal purposes, no. But for this purpose,
no.
Yeah.
No.
Not at all.
No. I would never do that at my workplace. I would never do that. Oh, but no, and Lionel's indicated, being a good Mariba boy, you got to come up with a Yowie joke. Because of the Yowies around Mariba there. Because he's actually he's and the thing about Lionel is he runs this. I love it too. I love his Facebook. I got to plug the hell out of it.
What are the chances of me having met Lionel before and just not remembering?
Oh, well, he's the chap that does this Yowie and paranormal page stuff where people report all the sightings of Yowies and whatnot.
Really? I saw that. I was looking at it a few years ago because I was considering, I want to pitch a bunch of shows to like ABC and stuff because I was watching the Hey It's Saturday reunion. I'm like, this is what we as a culture, as a comedy culture need, is this Hey It's Saturday where these comedians, the Dave Hughes, the Tom Woodleys, to come up and they do their little acts, and that's how people get to see them. Now it's like, oh, maybe if I scroll through Facebook, I'll stop on this comedian long enough to enjoy his shit. And that's what we need. I was thinking like, I want to do that. But then I also thought like, I love the British TV show Taskmaster, and I would love to see what Aussie comics would do with that, because they are brazen and ridiculous bunch, those people, people. And then there's, obviously there was the Sniff Your Toilet show.
That's a winner.
That's got more legs than two spiders joined at the hip.
Yeah, I was going to say a centipede. But yeah, mate, that's going to go. And the Yowie thing, mate, seriously, and for all those out there, jump on Lionel's page. I'll put it in the feed later, but I think it's called Yowies and Paranormal Sightings, and it's great. It's but that's me. I love that. I love that kind of stuff.
How much do you bet the Yowie sightings have dipped drastically since I moved?
Yeah, there was
no more.
The hairy man moved away, and Thomas moves away, and there's no more Yowie sightings.
And Ty, things haven't been the same since your naked bushwalk days.
Can you get back out there? We
miss you. The people miss you.
Yeah, I could polish up my head and go out there and be the UFO guy. Really, like walk around.
Yeah, but like those cryptids and stuff, those have always fascinated me. So I'd love to be like going around and seeing like haunted places in Australia. There's so many. So many. Like my apartment here in Menunda, it's pretty haunted now.
Yeah. By living people.
And the ghost of Kyle.
And the ghost of Kyle. Well, bro, look, I've really enjoyed this chat. We're coming up to time. So, mate, unless there's anything specific that you want to kind of throw in, if there's anything you want to plug, have you got any upcoming shows?
Listen, I'm working on them. I did my show, Falling Upwards, which was actually a placeholder that just that took the name. I'm trying to run that one in Atherton, Port Douglas, Innisfail, and Townsville. And then once I've finished the run, I'm going to try for the Golden Sunny Coast, see how I go. Maybe Brisbane a second time, and then bring it back for a big. I'm going to try. Don't quote me on this, but I'm going to aim to pull the CPAC for a big show, a big recorded show. I have this really funny idea of how I'm gonna go about doing it. And I'll tell you what, I'll tell you now. One of the little things I want to do, everyone who comes to that show, I want to put in the credits in order of appearance as the crowd, like as it's going through the credits, and it's like the crowd in order of appearance, and I put you all down. If you want to put a joke name down, I can't stop you. But,
yeah, that's it.
You know, wouldn't that be so cool to be like, look, I'm on YouTube. Yeah. I'm a celebrity dad.
Yeah. Biggest Dickus and his wife in continuity at Buttocks.
Biggest
Dickus. Oh, Lionel's asking, actually, Lionel, I'm one of your followers. So again, Lionel's page on there. I'll put the hyperlink on this. And he's asked, have you got anything in the foreseeable future for the Tablelands or Mareeba?
I think Mareeba's going to be very hard. I've tried to run a show there before. Frankly, venues in Mareeba just aren't feeling it. I just did a 15-minute spot for Ida Portella's comedy tours Mareeba. Check them out. She's already asked me if I'll do more in the future, and I said, depends on the coin. But no, I'm more than happy to do those in the future. There'll be a room starting here in Cairns starting the first Thursday of every month at the PJ O'Brien's there, a comedy night, open mic. So if you want to get up and try your own stuff, feel free. I'll be running that from either behind the scenes or in front of the scenes. And honestly, I just, you go back where you're born a lot. Once things really kick off for me, I will be returning as much as possible. Especially, I don't know if you saw this. They're building a film studio here where the old Bunnings was.
Yeah.
That came out today. So, I've already signed up for an agency just in case. And if they want me out here, I'll make the trip. Mum and Dad aren't too far. Got a lot of mates here. I don't mind. Always happy to come back where I started. I just need the ability to do so.
Yeah. Awesome. So, look, mate, thanks very much on that. So for next week's guest, I've got a number, so I'm not sure precisely who it's going to be. It's probably going to be a former decorated current serving police officer. She's just got to get, she's going to tell us all about how she won her bravery medal and the other things that she's done in her life. Or there's a couple of other people I'm talking to as well. I don't want to give too much away in case it kind of scares some of them off. But thanks very much for all the Northern Vibe listeners. If you've enjoyed this, like and share. And I'm going to be putting Ty's pages on here. So when you're looking for Ty's stuff, if you get on Facebook in the little search corner, it's Ty Thomas, TYTHOMAS, comedian. And like and follow his page as well. I love his stuff there. I love.
You got Ty Thomas the comic on Facebook, and then I'm Ty Tomedy on Instagram. If you're on TikTok, you'll see me pop up every now and then. I also want to plug the comedy rooms, Guilt Free Comedy and Laughing Heart Comedy. Also, while I'm at it, check out Good Chat Comedy from Brisbane. They're going to bring a lot of lovely people up here shortly. I actually saw Mel Buddle of I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here fame. She's coming up in December, which is pretty cool. I want to follow all these people, support comedy as a whole. That's what we need. It's a small city, but we can make it big if we, get together and all follow Ty.
All hail Ty.
King of Cairns comedy, second place winner.
Oh, mate, look, it was a great gig. And we've got a few names up here too. We've got Tanya, Peter James has unfortunately left us, but we've got Jay. We do have all those people you're walking with. So it's a cool, funny little place, Cairns. And I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised with this film thing that turns up here. But again, mate, thanks very much. I'll get you to stay on just for a couple of minutes while I stop the live stream. And again, thank you to everyone who's tuned in, liked and shared. Northern Vibe is also on YouTube. So please make sure you go across there, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Cheerio. See you next week.